Chair would like to call to order the Board of Trustee meeting for the Village of Lake Barrington for this Tuesday, May 3rd, 2022. Would the clerk kindly please call the roll?
Sure. Trustee Burke?
Here. Trustee
Hayes?
Here.
Trustee Perkins? Trustee Schaller?
He said here.
Yeah, okay. Trustee Thompson?
Here.
Trustee Van Ryn?
Here.
President Richardson? Trustee Burke will be serving as President Pro Tem in President Richardson's absence.
Thank you. At this time, would you all please rise and join me in saying our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda is item 4, approval of the minutes. These are closed session minutes of the Board of Trustees meeting from January 11th. Minutes were reviewed by the board during closed session portion of the April 2022 Special Committee of the Whole meeting. And B, minutes of the Board of Trustees meeting April 5th, 2022. So we are going to approve in block items 4A and B. Are there any questions about either of these items from the board? If not, do I have a motion to approve these minutes?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Trustee Thompson, seconded by Trustee Hayes. May I have a call the roll, please?
Trustee Thompson?
Yes.
Trustee Hayes?
Yes.
Trustee Burke?
Yes.
Trustee Schaller?
Yes.
Trustee Van Ryn?
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you. Item number 4 is President's remarks. Our President is out of the country on business this month, which is why I'm standing in for him. So we wish him well on his trip and safe journeys on his return from the other side of the world. It's actually already Wednesday for him, so he's already lived this day once. And just offering a welcome to Lieutenant Couric from Lake County Sheriff's Office. Thanks for being with us tonight. We appreciate, as always, you and support from you and the whole team. No other remarks. Opportunity 6 is the first opportunity for the public to address the board on non-agenda items. Is there anyone from the public seeking recognition at this time? The answer is no. We move on to agenda item number 7, which is our consent agenda. Am I required to read all this small print here?
No, you are. I would read the bold caption for each agenda item.
Yeah. So each of these summaries.
Yeah, and I could do that. If you don't mind, I'll read them.
Sure. So yes.
The motion, the consent agenda would include the a renewal of the Fidelity Consulting Agreement, the approval of the expenditure for the village administrator's attendance at the ILCMA summer conference, consideration of a resolution to approve the release of closed session minutes, regarding the release of closed session minutes, not actually released, an approval of the renewal of the agreement with Max Strategies, and I think that's it. So you'd want a motion to...
Do we need to reference these resolution numbers in here?
Lisa can just give those to us.
Yep. Fidelity Consulting is number 8.
8.
The resolution regarding release of closed session is number 9.
Number 9.
Max Strategies agreement is number 10.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Thank you. So Chair would like a motion to approve items 7A through 7D in block, as eloquently stated by Attorney Bateman in the recommended action of the consent agenda. Do I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Van Ryn,
Second.
seconded by trustee
I
Thompson.
get my name in here every time.
Would, at least one more time, clerk, please call the vote.
Trustee Van Ryn?
Yes.
Trustee Thompson?
Yes.
Trustee Burke?
Yes.
Trustee Hayes?
Yes.
Trustee Schaller?
Yes.
He said yes.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, trustee Scheller.
No problem.
Thank you. Motion passes. Thank you, everyone. Agenda item number 8 is the treasurer's report. It's my understanding that Treasurer Hirsch is not with us tonight, so our report will be given by Administrator Dalton Lang.
Yeah, so you have me tonight.
We have you tonight. Thank you.
But Ms. Hirsch graciously gave me her notes prior to her departure. So, the financial statements have been prepared and reviewed for the 11 months ending March 31st of our fiscal year. For the Village of Lake Barrington, we are 92% through our fiscal year with only 1 month remaining. Starting with the general fund, if you go to the flash report on page 2 of the financials, it shows the assets of $4,021,000 and corresponding liabilities at $1.33 million plus equity of $2.695 million to equal the $4,021,000, showing that the balance sheet is appropriately in balance. Revenue for the 11 months for the fiscal year is $3,436,000, and expenses are $3,107,000, resulting in net income of $330,000 compared to net income of $636,000 for fiscal year 2021. When we go to the flash report below the bolded line, it shows the regular operations for the fiscal year, that there's a net income of $1.105 million compared to the fiscal year 2021 net income from regular operations of $726,000 for a $379,000 difference. Income tax, sales tax, and building permits continue to account for a large part of the revenue difference. Financial services, intergovernmental consultants, plan reviews, fire farm expenses, and exterior property maintenance expenses are up from last year. Income tax is also up 23% from this point last year. Sales tax came in as expected this month, slightly lower than last month due to the loss of some seasonal sales. To date, our municipal share of sales tax is up $192,000 from last year's tax. Combining that with the added home rule sales tax, total sales tax is up $320,000. Increases in sales tax are far greater than any declines in the use tax. Building permit revenue had another strong month, and it's up $118,000 from this point last year. But on the expense side, building plan reviews and inspection expenses are up significantly from last year because there's more permits. For the balance sheet, all the cash revenues are in order as all the bank statements have been reconciled monthly and reviewed. So if you flip forward to pages 11 and 12 and the financial statements. Okay. On the pages 11, 12, and you look at the actual to budget report for the general fund for the fiscal year ended April 30th, 2022. Total revenues are over budget at 107% actual to budget, with another month to go. The major outliers against budget for revenue are income tax, which is 116%, sales tax, 137%, and building permit revenue, 162%. These are all at or over the annual budgeted amount with one more month of our fiscal year. Total expenses are at 85% actual to budget. As a total expense category, we are trending close to budget. Outliers there include the financial service, plan review and inspection, and exterior property maintenance. Move forward to page 13, the motor fuel tax fund. That is showing we have $679,000 in net current assets, of which $273,000 must be used for the Rebuild Illinois project. Those are the funds we received from the state of Illinois. We received the fifth of 6 installments of $54,623 from the Rebuild Illinois this month.
Excuse me.
And just a note, we're expecting one more payment of the 54,623, and we'll be using approximately $800,000 in total MFT funds for this year's road program. Moving forward to the Water and Sewer Fund on page 17. The Water and Sewer Fund has net current assets of $1.78 million, which is calculated by taking the cash as stated on the balance sheet, plus current receivables, less current payables. This will be used for future capital expenditures as needed. There are no major improvements planned for this fiscal year, only normal maintenance. The account payable warrants have been reviewed, are in order for your approval. There's one invoice to note on warrant A. It's H.R. Green for $26,182, which is for engineering fees related to the 2022 road program, which the board approved a few months back. All other items on the warrants have been reviewed and approved for payment. That is Treasurer Hirsch's report as read by the village administrator.
Thank you. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Village Administrator Dalton Lang. He filled in very nicely. Are there any questions for the Treasurer Pro Tem tonight? AKA Karen's Village Administrator. Any questions on her report? No questions. Then Chair would like a motion to approve in block items 8A through 8C, A, financial statements as of March 31st, 2022, B, pay bills in the amount of $197,737.80 as listed on the accounts payable warrant A, dated May 3rd, 2022, and C, pay bills in the amount of $68,747.27 as listed on the accounts payable warrant B, dated May 3rd, 2022. Do I have a motion, please?
So moved.
So moved by Trustee Hayes.
Second.
And seconded by Trustee Thompson. Call the roll, please.
Okay. Trustee Hayes,
Yes.
Trustee Thompson,
Yes.
Trustee Burke,
Yes.
Trustee Schaller, Trustee Van Ryn.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion approved. Under agenda item 8D, we have the fiscal year 2023 financial plan. Summary here is staff has completed the fiscal year 2023 financial plan previously reviewed by the village board and finance committee. We have had extensive conversation on this, and I would also just want to take this opportunity one more time to thank Trustee Hayes, Administrator Dalton Lang, Treasurer Hirsch, and all others who participated in the creation of the plan. This one had unique challenges this year with additional funding available and a lot of moving parts related to COVID and other things, and I think we've come up with an excellent plan. So once again, I just want to thank everybody involved in developing that. Are there any other questions or comments around the financial plan before we vote to approve it tonight? If not, then Chair would like a motion to accept the fiscal year 2023 financial plan, certified statement of revenues, and fiscal policies. Do I have such a motion, please?
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
Trustee Van Ryn, seconded by Trustee Thompson. Thank you. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Of course. Trustee Van Ryn.
Yes.
Trustee Thompson.
Yes.
Trustee Burke.
Yes.
Trustee Hayes.
Yes.
Trustee Schaller.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion is carried. Well done.
And I would just like to comment, because I forgot to mention it in the Committee of the Whole meeting, another thank you to Plan Commissioner Bill Gottfried, who provided the artwork on the cover of this year's financial plan.
Very nice. Thank you. Agenda item number 9, Administrator's Report. Administrator Dalton Lang.
Sure.
Take it away.
Okay. So I wanted to just give everybody an example of multi-unit and multi-governmental and quasi-governmental cooperation recently, whereas the Village of Lake Barrington, the Lake Barrington Shores Homeowners Association, and Lake County were worked together to resolve a decades-long addressing issue in LBS. And so Lake County reached out to Julia Powers, our building permit administrator, and she worked with LBS. She contacted them, and they both worked with Lake County GIS, who's updating all the addresses in their GIS, which is very important for emergency services, and I'm sure the tax bills, because the assessor's office uses that as well. So, so I just wanted to let everybody know how well that worked out, and it just kind of came together, and it all worked out well. So, also note, we now have Friends of Featherling Park. I am happy to announce that the Van Cleef family has volunteered to periodically walk through Featherling Park and pick up trash and report any items that need maintenance. You remember Katie Van Cleef, who appeared in front of this board about a year or so ago regarding the naming of Featherling Park after her family. She grew up there. In addition, her husband, who is a pack leader of a Weeblo pack of Cub Scouts, they've been out there. They went out last week prior to our open house and picked up 3 garbage bags full of garbage. It's not so much like people throwing down trash there. It's stuff that blows in off of Kelsey Road. I've taken walks out there and picked up stuff. It's just weird what you see gets blown around. So I'm very happy that they did that, and they pointed out some glass that was broken near the wall, and between the 3 groups, them and myself and most notably Cuba Township, who had to get the shovels out because some of it was embedded in the dirt, we made it safe. So they'll be out there, the Weeblo pack will be out there a couple of times a year, and the Van Cleef family will be out there on a fairly regular basis. So, and last but not least, I think I mentioned this in my last week's peak, a resident of Wedgewood Trails reached out to me recently about the Grassy Lake Trail, which is across the street, kind of zigzaggy from the Wedgewood Lane entrance. And I reached out to Lake County DOT, who's reaching out to Lake County Forest Preserve districts, and they'll start with to look at the geometrics to determine if it's possible to have a safe connection in that area. So that's good news. And last but not least, the Lake Barrington Shores Club Fair is this Saturday, and Lisa and Julia put together some handouts, some QR codes on stands that people can just take a picture of and scan, and it gives them information about building permits, recycling, garbage pickup, and our food compost program, and among other things, and new resident packets. So, Jamie, is that her name? Jamie?
Jamie Shepman, yes.
Yeah, so she's going to be coming by to pick up all this, and they'll put
Great.
it on a table. So, that's it. Any questions?
Any questions for the administrator? Thank you, Karen.
You're welcome.
Item 10, clerk's report. Is there there's still no report?
No report?
Okay, very good.
Everything's
Thank you.
wonderful.
So we'll move right along then to agenda item number 11, which are our reports of standing committees, and kicking us off to talk to us about branding and communications, Trustee Van Ryn.
I'm used to you going first.
I know, normally I just jump right in, don't I? But I'm deferring to you tonight.
All right. Well, a couple interesting opportunities over the course of the past month. Had the pleasure of attending the grand opening of Sure Shot, one of our new businesses, and shot a short video that was featured on our LinkedIn site. So that was a fun day. We were there early and saw a lot of people, Lisa and others, visit, which was wonderful. The other opportunity was at Good Shepherd Hospital, the town hall for village leaders, which I had the pleasure of joining with our president and Trustee Burke, and learned a lot about how they successfully attended to patients during the pandemic, and some future plans and things, so that was an enjoyable experience as well. And our LinkedIn community continues to grow, and a lot of interesting stories to share on that. So if anyone here has ideas of things to post, please let me know, and we'll continue to keep our community updated on happenings in the village. That's it from me.
Any questions? Thank you for Trustee Van Ryn. Thank you. Just a comment about the Good Shepherd Hospital presentation, which was the first one that I've participated in also. It was really very impressive, what they've been doing over the last few years. You would think in the face of a crisis like COVID, everything else would stop, but I thought that what was most impressive is not only how well they effectively handled the COVID crush and but all the other programs and things they continued to develop while COVID was taking place. It's quite remarkable. They have really done some interesting things. And one of the big things that they're doing that I was so impressed with, and it's just really the evolution of healthcare, really, but recognizing as a hospital, their job's not to just treat people as they come through the front door, but it's also to really engage the community in preventive healthcare measures. In other words, get to the community before people get sick and before they need hospitalization. So addressing all kinds of things, whether that's getting people vaccinated against COVID or screening for diabetes, breast cancer, whatever it is. They're really doing a wonderful job of community outreach and really understanding, in fact, where the dangerous spots are, where the community, where there's the highest risk and maybe the least engagement of the community in health care and preventative health care. So it's really an amazing service that they're doing for what they call their coverage area. And I also made the comment to them, and I think during the COVID crisis, particularly when every time you turned on the news and you talked about full hospitals and full emergency rooms and people understaffed, we actually felt, I think most of us felt very good about the situation at Good Shepherd Hospital because they never got to a point where they were sending people away. In fact, they were bringing in patients from other parts of the state. So they really had themselves extremely well prepared and well organized. And they really deserve a big kudos for that. And we're very lucky to have them here in our backyard. And now that they're part of Advocate and Aurora, I didn't realize, but they're now one of the biggest healthcare and hospital systems in the country. So they're big. They're very big and very influential. So they have extensive resources in and around the area. So it was really a good program and really made me feel good about what they're doing over there. And thank you for participating also, Trustee Van Ryn. And they also talked a little bit about outreach. And we said that each of the communities, there were all the other area communities, how each of us were very willing to participate and collaborate with them on how can we help with your outreach. And they said, wow, thank you, we're going to work on that. And we sent them to Trustee Van Ryn and said, call her when you need help. Next, economic development. Two quick things on that. One, as many of you are aware, Speedway was purchased from Marathon Oil by 7-Eleven a while back. You don't see too much evidence of that yet on our Speedway, but the changes are continuing to come. Most of the administrative portions of managing the stores are now turned over to 7-Eleven corporate. And we had a little bit of pain pressure from points from some of that. We had some issues with sales taxes reporting, particularly as it relates to the rebate that we offer them based upon their sales tax generation. And Peggy was reporting that we were getting either missing or inconsistent reporting, and I assured her that I knew for a fact it was a transitional issue, meaning it just dropped out of somebody's hands at Speedway and hadn't dropped into the right hands at 7-Eleven. So she and I had some conversation, and we did some work on that front, and we located and identified, actually kudos to a gentleman named Richard Yost, who worked with us very closely, who was the regional manager for them, who I reached out to. He is actually now with 7-Eleven, so he's moved from Speedway to 7-Eleven and works on the restaurant side of the business, so he's not even directly involved in this anymore. But he took it upon himself just because he's a great guy to find the right person inside the 7-Eleven organization, which is a huge organization, brand new to him. It took him a couple of days, but he located somebody who located someone who found the person who's the head of retail sales tax, revenue generation, and she and Peggy, Diane Jenkins is her name, are now united and working towards resolving the reporting issues. And they were very thrilled that we let them know that there were issues on their end, obviously, because they were unaware that it was potentially jeopardizing the rebate checks coming in, unusual. So that's all, that's hopefully will be resolved shortly, and happy to report that. And there'll be other issues, I think, as we continue to see the evolution to 7-Eleven and more and more corporate involvement from them on their end.
I would like to
Yes.
add that, without a hitch, they submitted their water quality report to my attention. They monitor the water quality out there in the underground well. So I got that, and it passed with flying colors again. So I was worried there was going to be hiccups there. So.
That's good. And one of the things you also can kind of note now as you see emails, are they at Speedway or are they at 7-Eleven? Because what's going to happen is there are Speedway people who will return to the Marathon Oil mothership, and there are Speedway people who will migrate to the 7-Eleven mothership as part of this, and that's in process. So what you're seeing is people are moving about, and they will either now become Marathon Oil people or 7-Eleven people, because there will be no more Speedway people per se.
But you said ours will turn into a Marathon Oil?
Ours will turn into 7-Eleven, yes.
So they're gonna rebrand the store to...
They will rebrand the store and everything I know.
Including the gasoline?
Yes, generally, yes. Generally, they just have their own brand of gasoline. They used to co-brand. I think they now do their own brand. But it takes a long time, and they're very thoughtful about the evolution. And a big part of it is, A, there's a tremendous amount of expense to rebranding, and B, the trick is to keep the loyal Speedway customer and pick up the loyal 7-Eleven customer. So they try not to alienate the Speedway customer by suddenly overnight saying, you can't find any of the things you used to be able. So from a merchandising standpoint, it's a big deal to figure out how to change from their drink selection to Big Gulp or whatever that might be, and do that over time. And it sounds a little crazy, but there's a big part of the merchandising process. The very last thing they generally do, the inside of the store changes before the outside. So it'll still say Speedy Cafe, and you'll walk in there and you'll start noticing like 7 select branded items and things that start to show up on the shelves. So that's 7-Eleven branded items making its way to the shelf. The very last thing they do is hang a new shingle. It's like it's almost like an afterthought. After everybody's already used to seeing it as a 7-Eleven inside, then one day there's just a new sign on the outside. So we don't really have anyone that we talk to with any consistency about that, in other words, who keeps us apprised of their transition plan. I'd like to know that better, and that's something now that I've got a few names in that organization we'll continue to pursue, because it'd just be kind of nice to be out ahead of it so that we know what their plans are for that transition as well, for the rebranding. Can't talk right now. Second item under economic development is a credit to Administrator Dalton Lang had a conversation a few weeks back with a commercial realtor who is representing the pending listing and marketing of the Kelsey Roadhouse at the corner of Kelsey and Northwest Highway. And Karen had a good conversation, and Karen had told me about the good conversation, and that I would be reaching out to Lisa as well from Keller Williams Commercial Real Estate. And we had a very, very productive chat late last week, and are agreeing to collaborate, which is music to our ears. She's literally asking questions like, well, what would you guys like to see done on this corner? So when you get that opportunity, you jump all over it. And they were sharing some preliminary ideas about where the interest is coming from on that corner. And all we tried to do was influence. They said, oh, well, there's a need for kind of like commercial office space. And I said, bad idea. No, And then, she goes, but really, I think the number one thing would be retail space. And then we said, that rings the bell. And, we just talked about where we get revenue generation, and we really believe there are very few places we can generate revenue, but one of them is along Route 14. And so we really, really want to reserve that space for retail and revenue-generating businesses. And she said, hey, we couldn't agree more. I think the owner of Kelsey Roadhouse, because she had so much invested in that as the restaurant, was hoping somebody would want to buy the restaurant and keep it operating as is. But I think they just too many issues with that property and the age of that property, even though it has an amazing kitchen, because she invested in a whole new kitchen. But I think the owner now kind of recognizes that that's probably not real likely, that it will just be bought to be run as is, and that likely it would be a redevelopment plan. And that's why Lisa wants to work with us, because she wants to understand the role that the village would want to play in any redevelopment effort. So we were able to say, well, we've got a master plan, we have a vision, and I'll share all that with you. We've even discussed things like TIF if the right project came along. So we have a lot of tools in our tool bag that we can pull out. So let's stay together on this. And she was very excited. I mean, sometimes realtors are not that excited, but she understood, I think, the value of that. So she's already communicated a couple times with me since we've even talked. So
Yeah.
she seems very engaged and really wants to work with us to come up with the best solution for all stakeholders. So stay tuned. Lots more to come.
How large is the property?
It's about 3 acres. There is on the corner there's a private residence that's right there. And it's my understanding that the realtor has even reached out to the private resident simply as a courtesy and to let that resident know that I think the for sale sign, the physical sign, will be going up maybe next week, so nobody's surprised. And she certainly didn't want the resident to be surprised. And I also appreciate that we shared our position and she shared their position, that we're aligned, that no one wants to put any type of undue pressure on the resident to do anything other than be well aware of what could be coming, which could include redevelopment, and just to be aware of what that might imply for their property if it does get redevelopment. So it's a courtesy thing, but nobody's looking to convince him that it's time to move on or do anything else. And she has no interest in that, and we have no interest in that. Conversely, if that resident said, I have these concerns, or what are my options, or what else could we do, then we'd all go sit in a room and figure out what might be best for that resident. And maybe it is best to move that resident and find another place where they can have that country feel that they want with the trees and the open space, and not have the added maybe noise or congestion or whatever that might come with redevelopment. So it's trying to just be transparent with the resident, and certainly not trying to be influential in any way, shape, or form. So that's not the business that we want to be in at this point in time. More to come, so we'll keep you posted on that, but it opens up a lot of unique opportunities. And in fact, she said she thought one of the number one things would likely be some kind of gourmet grocery. That's where some of the most interest seems to be coming from, and they're already doing outreach to all the area grocery chains. So stay tuned on that. Any questions on my report? Okay, that concludes my report. Next item, item C, external relations. Seeing that President Richardson is not here, I doubt there's any report. Item D, finance, human resources, and administration. Trustee Hayes.
Well, you all saw the budget, and the staff did a great job. And I guess for all the residents of the village, it's there. And we're going to do a newsletter, Therese. We talked about that, to put some pieces out there, just high level. There were some very interesting things, as we all know, that happened in the budget in terms of revenues. Online sales tax, we want everybody to buy online, because it benefits us as a village, lowers potentially future tax increases and the like. So I think there's some key themes in the budget that are valuable for the village to understand. So we'll draft something up through the staff and then get it to Kevin and ask you to put your blessings, and then last person but not least is Jim. So we, write it properly, but I think it'd be good. It's an opportunity to communicate a positive message, so that's all I have.
Agreed. Thank you, Trustee Hayes. Any questions or comments for Trustee Hayes? Item E, infrastructure and open spaces. Trustee Perkins is not here. Do you have any report on this?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Our road program, 2022 road program has started. The contractor is in the Country Squire Estates neighborhood right now doing some of the drainage work. And then they'll be progressing to the grinding and resurfacing. We did find out in that area when we did our core samples that there was 9 inches of asphalt over gravel. That is like unprecedented, unexpected. Normally you have, maybe 4 inches of asphalt over a subbase. This was 9 inches over dirt, basically. So, unfortunately, it's been so long since that road has been repaved or anything, there's no records here of what was done. So we'll be looking at that to just grind and resurface that neighborhood, because the other subdivisions that have like the normal 4 inches, they'll be ground out, then we'll do the cement stabilization to make the subbase stronger, and then resurface. So
There's no base? There's no gravel base?
no, it's just kind of dirtish. gravel. Dirtish. That's a technical engineering term that I just made up. Yeah, so we got the first one back, the first core sample. Cuba Township went out and did more core samples for me, because I'm like, get out there and do more, because this is not making any sense. Did we just hit a wrong spot? No, the whole subdivision's that way. So, surprise. But the good news is we'll save money on the contract because we won't be doing cement stabilization. So that work has started. Then everybody has received letters in all the subdivisions where the roads are going to be done this year. HR Green is taking care of those phone calls because we did it on their stationery. So, all's well.
Very good. Thank you. Questions for Administrator Dalton Lang on infrastructure and open spaces? Okay, next item F, public safety. Trustee Schaller coming to us live from out west. Do you have a report tonight?
Can anyone even hear me if I'm speaking?
Yes,
we can.
We can hear you.
Oh, wonderful. Is Lieutenant Scott Turek in the audience?
Yes, he is. He's right up
Would he
front.
like to come forward and let us know what's going on with the Lake County Sheriff's Department?
He would. He's making his way there as we speak. He's there now.
He's there now.
Good evening, everybody. Fortunate or unfortunate, however you may look at it, I really don't have any new information this month, so no big incidents in Lake Barrington to speak of. The only thing I'll just say is just continued issues across the county with an increase in vehicle burglaries and a lot of different calls relating to vehicle thefts, whether they're citizens of Lake County reporting their vehicle being stolen, or we're coming across people in stolen vehicles. So, and that's going across all Chicagoland, as you've probably seen on the news. So, other than that, I don't have anything more to report. If anybody had anything they wanted me to address, I could take questions at this time.
Questions or comments for Lieutenant Turek?
Just thank you for all you're doing for us.
Thank you, and be careful on Memorial Day weekend.
We'll be careful on Memorial Day weekend. Thank you, sir, and thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, as always, thanks for being here, and thanks for your ongoing support.
And if any questions ever come up, you can reach me at my office and or email me, however, and we'll do whatever we need.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. As far as the Barrington Countryside Fire Protection District, they had originally scheduled a ribbon cutting for their new Station 39 later this month, but because of all the wonderful precipitation that we have been receiving, they have not been able to complete their landscaping, so they are postponing it. That just came up today, no date set for rescheduling. And the Wakanda Fire Department, just a reminder that Chief Gary is retiring, I believe, on May 24th. He's been chief now for about 3-4 years, and but has been with the department for several. And Deputy Chief Pat Kane will be installed as the new fire chief of the Wakanda Fire District. That basically is my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Schaller, for that report. Any questions or comments for Trustee Schaller on this time on public safety? Okay, with no questions, we will move on to last, but certainly not least, item G, Veterans Affairs and Special Events, Trustee Thompson.
Thank you very much, Mr. President Pro Tem.
You're welcome.
E-News. Thanks to Lisa, we now have 329 subscribers, inching closer to 335. And please, everyone, continue to suggest to all your neighbors and friends to sign up for E-News. It's a wonderful place to get information about the village. Special events. I'm continuing discussions with Chicago Bears about village resident Cole Komet doing a charitable function at Friar Farm. I'm now emailing with the Bears player person through his agent to see where we're getting with that. Slow but inexorably closer to fruition. EV update. Village Administrator Karen Dalton-Lang and I met with Carbon Solutions Group about their EV proposals, and it all remains fluid until we have further information from them and others, because we're continuing discussions about installing EV stations here at Village Hall. So we'll just see what happens. It's a long road before we get anywhere.
Especially looking for money, grant money for it.
Yes, the money.
Yeah.
They all continually, like to say, "Oh, the money's there," Anyway,
Can I ask a question about
yes.
that? And maybe other people are interested. So how does this process work? When we say we would like to get a charging station, are we talking about having one in our parking lot, or are we talking about where, or somewhere nearby?
Yes, no, here, right at the edge of, I would presume near the
driveway to the garage.
To the garage, yeah.
We, last year, or 2 years ago, when we first started looking at EV stations, we had an electrical contractor come to the village and check where the wiring is.
Right.
Because wiring would have to come out of the village to
Right.
this. And so it's kind of across from the kitchen area.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where we'd go and be the last space before the,
I see.
before that driveway.
Before you get into the garage area there.
Yeah.
So then, what we're talking about funding and all the other stuff, I mean, how does this typically, I'm just curious how the process works. We pay somebody, they pay us, we need funding to get it done.
Well, there's the
Then you
problem.
charge for the electrical charge at some point, and it's a revenue generating thing, like,
Well,
I have no idea, I'm completely
there are multiple,
in the dark.
there are multiple federal and state grants, if you will, out there that pertain to installing EV, charging stations. But to me, Karen, you may have a different idea about this. To me, it's just like the Wild Wild West right now. You have all these different people with these different ideas, proposals and so forth. Because how many have we talked to?
I talked about 4.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and you're absolutely correct, because even though the feds have said there's going to be this money, it's not there yet. It's
Right.
coming. So these different providers of EV stations are getting their ducks in a row. So we're kind of holding back and seeing what some other municipalities do, but at the same time want to get on it before this money's gone, because if you can get the feds to pay for some of it, why not? And to answer your question, it probably would not be revenue generating, just because we would only have one charging station, and it would take a lot of hours, I think,
Yes.
before anything got revenue. So it would be more of a service
Yeah.
as electrical cars become more common. And this being a trailhead and a park district, park area, people might tend to park here a little bit longer, so.
And
And
the
and
federal
also-
infrastructure bill has a $500 million of these stations that are part of the plan.
Mm-hmm.
And, on the 19th of May, I'm going to Detroit with my wife, because she's involved with a coalition out of Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, that is developing the curriculum for the workforce to actually be able to do this. Because that is an insane amount, so.
Oh, yes.
It's gonna come, and all these same questions that you just asked, I've heard all of them. What, are you
Right.
gonna get charged to use a
Right.
credit card?
Yeah.
It's all over the
Right.
place.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what actually happens. I think ultimately, you can't give away stuff for free forever.
No.
And ComEd won't be going, sure, just use our free electricity,
Well,
but,
and that's another thing with ComEd, you know, we can't just plug into our electricity.
Right.
You know, they have to go through and they have to identify where the station is and so forth.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be a separate meter.
Yeah.
Be metered and
Yeah,
all
metered and
that.
everything, yes.
It's our,
Yeah, ours is free.
our power is.
Yeah, we're not allowed to give away power,
Yeah.
so.
I
yeah.
think there's a big opportunity for us if we really
Yes.
look at it and find ways, because you think about, even the Lake County property in the village, and the things, having stations around various parts of the village.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
It's coming, and I
Yeah,
think we're
and
getting a
I've-
good education.
Yes, and there could be opportunities down the road based upon what's available and how we place them, et cetera. There may be long-term some revenue generation. Not a lot, I wouldn't think, you know, but some perhaps.
My landlord has put a new charging station in at, the corner of the 1000 Hart Road building.
Is that right? Yep.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
My landlord has a new charging station available to the public at the corner of the 1000 Hart Road building.
Oh, okay.
I have them in my office building at work in Oak Brook, so, well, in the garage, there's 6 of them, and if you don't have an electric
But,
car, you
yeah,
can't park in the
but-
prime spot in the parking garage.
But to Karen's point, you know, we want to be there
Yeah, I agree.
and ready when the money's there.
And I think it's a good location. I mean, what you say, down in Florida, I see them in almost all the parks now, which just makes so much sense, because when people go to the park, they generally stay for a while, and so go there and plug in and
Right.
play an hour's worth of tennis or pickleball, and, you know.
Yeah.
So-
Good Shepherd Health and Fitness has 2,
Yep.
so.
The other ancillary benefit that is lost, because I work in this space, is when you can capture the energy in the batteries, when you even plug in, it gives the grid operators immense flexibility to draw, too. And this is coming. This electric vehicle is well beyond just charging a car to go drive. It becomes an energy storage. So all this renewable energy, wind and solar, you get it injected into the grid and it gets stored in the vehicles.
Sure.
So I think in the future, you're gonna see two-way metering, right? You wanna buy some, I'm gonna buy some back, and it's gonna be a big deal for, renewable energy, because renewable energy, when the sun goes down or there's cloud, it stops producing electricity, much like the wind, and that's the problem with those fuel sources,
sure.
because you can't control, but with
But if
energy
you have it,
storage-
then you have,
Yeah, so the vehicles is a big deal, that's why I think this is really a wave of the future.
okay.
Well, this has been very enlightening, as usual. Thank you.
So, moving on to Veterans Affairs. 7 p.m. tomorrow, May 4, the Veterans of LBS's Military Speakers Bureau invites everyone to attend an interview they're doing with the 102-year-old World War II Army Air Corps veteran pilot Ed Berthold at the Lake Barrington Shores Lodge Ballroom. Ed flew 35 missions over France and Germany, and he already has an interview in the Library of Congress from 2017, and it's going to be a very interesting evening to have him recount what he will about his exploits, and also his meeting Jimmy Stewart was and so forth.
What time is that tomorrow night?
7 p.m. in the ballroom, and I've been instructed to say that the veterans' famous cake will be served afterwards. So, update on Memorial Sunday 5K run walk. Start time is 8 a.m. with a special memorial ceremony. The veterans thank Village President Richardson and Trustees Burke and Hayes for their generous donations. They thank you very much. And also would like everyone to know that sponsorships of $500 and up will be included on participant T-shirt backs. The veterans will continue to accept registrations and donations up to the 8 a.m. race start. Net proceeds are designated for veterans of LBS's veterans programs, and through them, a portion to Tunnel to Towers. The veterans encourage everyone to participate in any way they can, and I'm available to pick up donation checks payable to Veterans Memorial 5K at your homes, your place of business, or any other place that you'd like to have me pick it up. The veterans also invite all village residents to their annual Memorial Day ceremony, 1 p.m. at the LBS Marina. Keynote speaker will be Barrington Bank President Brad Stetson. And yes, after the ceremony, there'll be a free hot dog, chips, and soft drink lunch. So, and finally, I notified President Richardson and fellow trustees that effective Wednesday, May 4, I am resigning my trustee position. I wanted to report that I thoroughly enjoyed working with all of you, including the village staff, for 7 years. And basically, I just wanted to say thank you very much, and God bless the village of Lake Barrington. That's my report.
And an excellent way to finish strong. Thank you, Trustee Thompson. Any questions or comments for Trustee Thompson on his report tonight?
Are you still gonna bring us pizza lunches once in a while?
Sure.
That's an important question.
Yeah.
He kind of laughed it off there for a minute, but
It's a serious question.
I think he's going to be back for
We
pizza.
gotta keep in touch.
Yes.
Well, I'm sure you'll be keeping in touch, and I would say it's been a pleasure and a privilege to work with you for the last 7 years. You've made a real impact on the village, and you've done it the right way. Your heart's always been in the right place, and you've always had the village's best interest at heart when you do this. And so I'm sure we're going to have you back so that when we're a full house, and we can all say a lot of more nice things about
sure.
you. But I didn't want to let tonight go by without acknowledging your contribution and how much we've enjoyed having you on the board, and you normally being right at my left side. So when I don't know what I'm talking about, you can you nudge me and you write notes to me and say, tell them this. So I'm going to miss that. But thank you.
Thank you.
Sincerely. And I'll open it up to the dais and starting here, just in case you spontaneously would like to say anything to Trustee Thompson on his way up.
Jim, I've gotten to know you. You certainly are why I'm here. You know, it was you and Randy and others that talked me into put my hand up for this, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
You're not going anywhere.
Right.
You're just going to take a little breather from all this. So
I lived there since 1994. I'm not going anywhere.
Right.
no, but you're not going. You'll be around. But thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Trustee Schaller.
Yes, sir. I think they used to dub him the Energizer Bunny. So I don't know who's going to be hopping around the village hall anymore now that we won't have an Energizer Bunny. But appreciate all the work that Trustee Thompson has provided to the village in the past 7 years. And hopefully he'll be returning monthly to give us a veterans report. So thank you for your service, Jim.
Thank you, John.
Administrator Dalton Lang, would you like to?
Sure. Jim, it was a pleasure working with you as a trustee and also as your village administrator. I think I've gotten to know you a lot in the last few years as village administrator and working on all the programs we have together. And I'm assuming I'm still going to be working with you on those programs that we have in the hopper and everything. So, and I wasn't kidding about the pizza. So, you'll still be around.
Thank you.
Mr. Bateman, would you?
You know, I get choked up at things like this.
I know you do. That's
But
why
I've already
I call
talked
on you.
to Jim earlier today, and so
Okay.
it's been a pleasure. And he's left a lasting legacy in the village for all the programs he set up, and it's been great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Trustee Van Ryn.
Jim, it's been wonderful working with you. Appreciate your mentorship.
Yes, for all the years.
Yeah.
It probably feels like a lifetime, doesn't it?
No, you set a course for us on so many things, and newbies like me have learned a lot from you and respect you immensely.
Thank you.
Thank you for
This is really bad, you know.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Lisa, would you care to?
Yes. Jim, I've truly enjoyed working with you in all our event planning and barn stomp and all that. You get so excited, and it excites us, and I hope that you'll still be a part of that,
Thank you.
because we could use your advice on things.
Thanks.
And I really hope the pizza parties still happen, because we really like that. So, yeah, we want to keep you around.
Yeah, just because you're not going to be a trustee doesn't mean you get off the barn stomp or concert.
Right, yeah.
No, there are plenty of opportunities still to support your village. And are you going to be acting as, or will you be a liaison with the veterans
Yes.
of Lake Barrington
Yes, I will.
Shores?
Yeah.
So when we have the reports from them, you'll be here, right? You'll be bringing pizza and coming to talk to us.
Oh, yeah.
Great. Well, thanks again.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate everything that you've done, and we'll look forward to working with you in a new capacity moving forward. Let's see, item number 12, there is no old business, so item number 13 are ordinances. Item A is zoning variations ordinance for 21969 North Pepper Road. Did we need to summarize this quickly?
Yeah, briefly summarize it. The Plan Commission ZBA held a public hearing in consideration of the zoning variation for relief from the required side yard setback to the existing chain link fence they have on their south property line, and the screening fence height from 8 to 9 feet, for the property, we commonly know it as outdoor interiors. So the Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of it, and you have the information in your packet. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Are there any questions for the administrator on this item? If not, Chair would like a motion to approve ordinance number 2022-0-5. Thank you, Lisa. An ordinance granting zoning variations to allow setbacks for the parking lot as described in the ordinance. Do I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Thompson. He's trying to get his name in the notes as many times as he
Every
possibly
time.
can. Seconded by trustee Van Ryn. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Sure. Trustee Thompson.
Yes.
Trustee Van Ryn.
Yes.
Trustee Burke.
Yes.
Trustee Hayes.
Yes.
Trustee Schaller.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Motion approved. Item 14, resolutions. A, an intergovernmental agreement between Lake Barrington Countryside Park District, amended and restated agreement. Would you like to just summarize briefly?
Yeah, we've always had an IGA with the Park District since they started using the property on Village Hall grounds for the tennis courts, splash pad, playground, soccer field, baseball field, picnic area, that sort of thing. And the last time it was updated was 2006. So it's time to revisit that and work out some little kinks that have come up over the past few years. And so both parties, went back and forth a little bit and talked out some things. And I think we have a very clear understanding now of who does what when. And so the Park District approved the agreement at their April meeting. So if we approve it, then we can both sign it and move forward.
Thank you. Questions for the administrator? If not, Chair would like a motion to approve resolution number 2022-R-11. Thank you, Lisa. Approving and authorizing the execution of an intergovernmental agreement between the Lake Barrington Countryside Park District and the Village of Lake Barrington. Do I have a motion, please?
So moved?
Second.
Moved by trustee Hayes, seconded by trustee Thompson. Thank you. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Sure. Trustee Hayes.
Yes.
Trustee Thompson.
Yes.
Trustee Burke.
Yes.
Trustee Schaller.
Yes.
Trustee Van Ryn.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion approved. Thank you very much. Item number 15 is new business, and there is none, so that takes us to item number 16, which is the second opportunity for the public to address the village board. Is there anyone wishing to address the board? Yes, sir. Please come to the podium. We're so sorry we kept you.
I missed
the first one, it's really hard to hear in here.
Yeah, it's a little tricky. We're still working on the microphone system. If you would introduce yourself and give us, your address, please.
Sure. Sean Kildare, 27089 West Wellington Court. I just moved in a little while ago. I think I heard the village administrator mention it. Again, I was having a very hard time hearing even when I moved up. So my wife and I and our children moved in just a couple of months ago, last July. And we are getting used to the neighborhood, and our kids are starting to bike a lot. And as I think it was mentioned that we've seen the bike trail, and we've been over to the park over here, and we've seen that it's connected to it, but we didn't have any way to see for our kids to safely get to that trail from our neighborhood. So I had called out and I've reached out and with a lot of help from the village administrator, trying to figure out how I could help to find a way to connect our community to that trail. You know, I've made sure that everything I did, I reached out to all 27 homes that are in the development. Luckily, one of our neighbors maintains an email list, so it was kind of an introduction to everybody else there as well. Out of the 27 homes, I know we have at least 4 with young school-age children, including mine, 5 and 8, around that age. Several with middle and high school-age children. At least 3 families that have new infants or are about to have new infants. We have 2 families that are moving in. A couple of families that have grandchildren that come to visit. We have a lot of adults that also use that path and have expressed that they're concerned about, making their way down that part of the road. It's 318 feet from the intersection that we have with Wedgwood and Miller down to where the access is. The access, however, after doing research, is not designed for pedestrian access. It's actually designed as a drop gate for emergency access, recovery, that kind of a thing. So that at least helped me understand why it was all the way down there and not over by where we were. I did reach out to the neighbors. We had 10 of 24 families respond. All 10 families supported me coming down here and asking and presenting this to the board. The only issue that was brought up by one of the neighbors was a concern about parking. Although apparently it's a problem currently that people will park either along Miller Road, which is dangerous, or they'll park on the roads in our development and then walk down along Miller Road to get to that access anyway. I don't know how that could be addressed, but it's just something I want to make sure we acknowledge everything from the community's point of view. In terms of the benefits, we look at making sure that we can use and get access to the community here. Obviously having the splash pad, kids getting older, being able to get to the splash pad, get to the parks, get to the fields, get to the access to the rest. We know that there's 35 spots here at Village Hall, 2 of which are privileged. We have 24 spots that are at the Grassy Lake parking area. Trying to relieve some of the pressure from that, especially when there are big events going on, being able to just walk down here or bike ride. I know that at Freer Farm, I've seen the village newsletter and that there's a big thing going on. It seems, and I haven't done it yet, but it seems like there is a way to use the path to get there. That you can get closer to that and be able to attend that instead of having to drive down and possibly take up space and parking for that. So that may be also a help from the community standpoint. I think that about covers everything. I think you guys probably know the concerns that we have with Miller, that there doesn't seem to be, there's not a wide enough shoulder to travel down that, safely, let alone if there were children trying to traverse that. No real indication getting across the road. While it is a 35-mile-an-hour road, people tend to go faster there. Pretty much the only thing that slows them down is the chicane down by LBS. There doesn't appear to be a right-of-way on either side that's readily accessible. On the north side, you have property that's owned. The south side is a culvert that was recently created to help with water runoff, I believe. So trying to create a path there, but I'm assuming that'll come down to a study and looking at it. So that was just about it. I really hope to be a part of the community and see what we can do here and get everyone involved in doing things. And that's about it. Oh, the other benefit that we saw too was connecting the kids to communities. I grew up on the East Coast, was able to bike ride around my neighborhood and get to and from places. And I kind of see some of these as islands that we're disconnected. We have this great path that goes between where we are. We go past LBS. For those, I know there are a lot of grandparents that are actually, one of my neighbors is moving right down the road to LBS, and the other family is still there. That would serve as a connection to that. Hill Farm across the way where we actually had looked before we moved into where we are. So as my kids grow, I see them getting more friends and wanting to be able to have the ability to go there. I actually work in traffic safety in DC, so the thought of my children right now crossing that road or traveling up and down that road really scares the living heck out of me. Pedestrian fatalities are up, bicycling fatalities are up. It was kind of a double-edged sword dealing with COVID. I know you guys were mentioning that before. COVID was good that everyone started biking and walking more. COVID was bad that everyone was biking and walking more. We know that we're having speeding issues, and those problems that are going on. So that's about my pitch. I'm willing to do anything I can to help, track down any phone calls or do anything I can to support it. And that's it.
Well, thank you. First of all, welcome to Lake Barrington. We hope you're settling in nicely and,
Trying. I apologize for being late. I just come back from a hockey practice with the kids, so I'm a little disheveled. I apologize.
No worries. No, we're happy to see you here. We love it, anytime our residents come out and state their opinions or voice interest in, how we can make the community better, safer. So thank you for doing that. And I know that you and Administrator Dalton Lang have had some discussion on that. Is there anything that at this point that for all of our benefit that you'd like to share with us in terms of how you're planning to, next steps or what your plan to approach this request is?
Lake County DOT got back and said that they would be looking into this with Lake County Forest Preserve District. So they need to look at geometrics, the vertical curves, that are there, to see if it's even safe to begin with, even if they had this space. And then if it's safe from the road geometric side, then they'd be talking to Lake County Forest Preserve, is there space they are willing to give up to provide access, to this. So it's the first step in getting things rolling. So nice to meet you in person.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, I know it's a long road to hoe. I just figure start on the path and see what we can do.
It is a long road to hoe. There's a number of governmental agencies, and you know as well as anybody what that takes. But we love our trail system here, and we are continuing to look for ways to make it safer, better, more enjoyable, all of the above. So any comments, anything that we can do that looks at that is certainly appreciated, because it's a wonderful.
Sorry. I was trying to turn it up.
You're trying to turn.
Hard to hear.
She was trying to. It's okay. She was trying to turn it off, is what she meant to say. The trails are a wonderful amenity, and we want the maximum number of people to be able to enjoy them. So we'll look forward to working with you as well and keeping you apprised of progress. But thanks for coming out tonight. It's nice to meet you.
I'm always around anything I can do, so thank you, guys.
Will do. Have a good night. Thanks for coming.
There's a fine line with echoing and getting it loud enough for
That was
people to
like, I
hear.
thought I was the Wizard of Oz for a minute.
You just needed a curtain.
Yeah.
I do just need the curtain. That would be great. No need for closed session tonight. So as President Richardson would say, his favorite agenda item is item 19, adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Oh, my gosh, appropriately moved by Trustee Thompson, seconded by Trustee Van Ryn. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.